This is me documenting building my business to $1 million a year, scaling my personal brand, and helping others do the same. So, long story short, it's Monday. We're back in business. I'm back in my studio, back in Ireland from Lithuania. So the way these videos usually go is I'm not sure if my iPad is going to work. But it does. So we usually start with a Q&A, then we do a bit of a reporting / brainstorming. I give you guys on the metrics of the growth, and we talk about the next steps. So first of all, we got to go into the little Q&A. I want to start creating content, but I'm not a pro in my space. I'm better than a beginner though. Well, there's no secret to starting to create content. It's just you start. You just have to start. Nobody's going to do it for you. One of the biggest things that people kind of, I guess, get stuck on is that they try to plan too much ahead when in reality they just need to start. Plan your next 21 days worth of content. So how do you do that? Number 2 is actually maybe plan, right? So let's say plan first, then start. Don't plan too much ahead because you will get overwhelmed and you're just not gonna do anything at all. The important thing to understand that 90% of people generally are beginners. So you're saying that you're not a pro, that doesn't mean that you need to be a pro. 90% of people in most niches, in most industries, are beginners. They're not aware of the stuff. So this also applies to me as well. Most of video editors are beginners. Most of the content creators are beginners. The other 9% of them make, from zero between 10K, and the other left 1% or leftover 1% is literally making 6-7 figures. If you just make content that's kind of not like too much for beginners, but shares your perspective on the way that beginners can do stuff, that would be helpful. So what I like to do is just answering simple questions, or ask yourself these questions. What are 7 things that most people don't know or most people get wrong? But that's your 7 days of content. Now, also what I like to think is, what's the journey of the transformation that you went through? So how did you start? What was the middle of journey? And then how did you get to where you are today? So yeah, start, middle, and end. Just like any story, just like any transformation, there's a beginning, middle, and end. So what I like to do is take these 7 things that most people get wrong, they don't understand, or some of the 7 things that misunderstood, and just put them here within each pillar. And I call it the context pillars. So these context pillars give you literally 21 at least pieces of content. And if you're smart about it, you can use 3, 7, how many different hooks, angles, and that 21 turns into 63. You can get tons of content here. And that's really it. That's how you just start. Understand that most people are beginners. You're probably ahead of the most people. People love consuming information. So you just give them more value, help them see things differently from your perspective. Then create these context pillars and you're good to go. So it wouldn't really overcomplicate that. Now, I hope that answers your question, buddy. Let's go on to the next stage. By the way, one more thing before I forget is that too many people focus too much on trying to look like they've done something. The better way is to actually just be honest and like, here's what I've done and here's what I've learned. So in my case, it would be something along the lines of creating videos like I've posted 370 times and here's 3 hook frameworks that I've learned that get 100,000 views every single time. I can create that because I've done that. So it's better off coming from the frame of documenting and not just sharing information, because people are sick and tired of all the here's 3 things They don't really care about that. They want to see what you've done, how you've done it, and how you do things differently. So these are the three things that I would think about when creating content. Anyway, back to the other one thingy. Okay. Even though I'm not posting consistently right now at the moment, even though I'm not going viral, quote unquote, my audience is still growing. In the last 30 days, I've added, I mean, only 1,000 followers, but still pretty solid. Over the last 7 days, it's been 200. So I think what's being carried, or what am I being carried by, is older content. I have a community call in like 5 minutes, so I'm gonna be quick about this. TCL restructuring, I believe I covered that, so I have to finish phase 1. The mastermind networking event that I attended, some of the guys actually gave me food for thought. So that's why I'm not rushing anything in terms of restructuring my offer, my core offer. How can I sell more of my stuff, or even like actually decide on what I want to sell? Because I feel myself that I have this shiny object syndrome, and I have so many things that I want to do because of the skill sets that I have. My biggest trouble is that one thing. It's like, how do I do that? So TCL, it's kind of the beginning of it. So I'm going to show you how to build a personal brand, how to get more views. I think that's definitely one of those things. Then we're looking at, as I said, HSC. That's more of a group coaching than one-on-one. But priority right now is really just finishing this. The other thing that we've talked about, the mastermind, or I don't know why I call it mastermind. It's really a networking event of really epic people. So I love that. It's very rare to see these events happen. I had to reschedule my flight just to attend it back in Lithuania, and it was worth it 100%. So I scripted out phase 2 and phase 3 already while I was there anyway, so I just need to film it. Shouldn't take longer than a week or two, really, to be honest. But phase 1 has to be wrapped up because I'm kind of taking a bit too long on that. Just distractions, really. There's actually not much of an update in terms of what's been happening because, again, over the Saturday and Sunday, I've been filming, taking photos, and I learned one thing. Which is kind of interesting. I always thought that I was an introvert. I might be. I'm not sure. Could be. I might be completely wrong about what I will say next. But every time I speak to people, I hang out with people, I always have more energy. So it could be that I'm actually an extrovert. And being locked in here, just like trying to grind this fucking shit, might be a bit of a problem for me. But I don't know, we'll see. I've scripted my first YouTube video, by the way. So I'm looking forward to putting it out on the main channel. So we're gonna wrap up here. I'll speak to you soon.